What's going on, guys? It's Danny here, and this is going to be a video about gear, TBC Classic pre-Season 1 and Season 1 PvP gear. And actually, one thing that's really cool and some people might like more than others is that for Shadow Priest you can gear mostly, and even if you gear only from PvP, it's going to be perfectly fine. And that's because Resilience is a PvP stat, and all this gear with Resilience you get it through PvPing. And we need that as much as possible because we don't have a defensive ability like Ice Block, Cloak of Shadows, Vanish, Bubble. For the most part we just sit there tanking damage. So what I like to do is stack a lot of resilience and stamina, while at the same time also have a good amount of spell damage and healing. So at the start of TBC we'll be wearing the High Warlord set, which is gonna look like this, which is like the classic rank 12 and 13 sets. So I'm gonna do like a walkthrough of all the gear, how I wanna mix it up, the enchants and the gems, and also what other options there can be, and how I think I'm gonna have it in Season 1 in TBC Classic. I'm going to leave link to this gear planner with all this gear in the description of the video, of course. All of this that you see right here is Honor and Marks gear, a couple items from Reputation, and one item with Spirit Shards. I will explain that in a sec. So the High Warlord Caster Helm, the Epic PvP Neck, the High Warlord Healer Shoulders, Epic Caster Cloak, High Warlord Chest for Caster, Epic PvP Bracer for Caster, the High Warlord Healer Gloves. This mace is from Lower City Exalted, the Gable of the Unearthed Secrets, High Warlord Offhand, Nether Core's Control Rod from the Arcatraz, but doesn't have to be exactly this one, just get something with stamina, intellect and spell damage. Because there is no wand from honor and badges. There is a wand later on with arena points from Season 1. Talisman of the Horde trinket. Medallion of the Horde, the new PvP trinket for TBC, which is like a huge upgrade from the classic one. This is only 2 minutes cooldown. This is the same trinket for everybody. It's not like in classic rogues and warlocks cannot trinket stun, etc, etc. With this, everyone can trinket everything except silences. Seal of the Exorcist ring, and you basically get this ring with Spirit Shards. The Spirit Shards are shards that you get from every boss that you do here in Terrakar Forest on every Auchendone dungeon when you control all 4 Spirit Towers. It was something like every 6 hours or so they become neutral and your faction has to capture them, like the Arathi Basin bases. You just sit there and it caps it, and then it gives you a buff here. And when you do dungeons in this zone here, from every boss you get Spirit Shards. And with 50 Spirit Shards, this is the vendor right here in the Horde town, where you have a flight path. This is Seal of the Exorcist. Next ring is Band of Dominance, which is from the PvP vendor, just a blue ring. Epic Boots with Resilience and Spell Damage. The High Warlord Pants for Caster, and the Caster Epic Belt from PvP. So the choices, the combination of 3 of the caster set and 2 of the healer set. The 2 set bonus you can see is plus 35 resilience, so we need that really badly. And also getting the shoulders and the gloves for healer, you don't lose much. For example, let me show you in game. So for example, for wearing the healing shoulders you lose only 5 spell damage, 3 stamina and 3 intellect. And for wearing the healing gloves you also don't lose that much either compared to the caster ones. Also, the additional healing from these 2 healer items is very nice, because remember, the most important thing is you're a priest. And as a shadow priest, one of your biggest strength is the support and healing you can have when you need it. Being on point with a lot of dispelling and leaving shadow form to heal in a crucial moment wins you the game, and it shows the difference between the bad shadow priest and the good shadow priest. We can just leave, cast 3 dots and then run around the PRO game business to the warlocks. Just kidding, warlocks, you're doing fine. I know you also have to mana drain, silence with your pet once in a while, and then keep running around the pillar more. The 4-piece set bonus to reduce the duration of Weakened Soul is nice, especially when you're getting trained, you're getting focused, you can shield yourself 2 seconds earlier, but sometimes it's not even needed, and this 35 resilience is always there, always helps. The off-pieces Cloak, there is only one cloak for caster. There is this one with attack power for melee and this one for caster. The same with the neck pretty much, there is one caster neck and one attack power for melee, this one. But the bracer, belt and boots, there is 2 of them. Bracer is this one that I'm using, heavy on stamina, resilience and spell damage. And there is this one that has a few less stamina points, intellect, spell damage and resilience, but it gives critical instead. We go for the ones with no crit but more stats. because we just need those stats really badly, and we don't benefit from crit as much as other classes. For example, dots don't crit in TBC. It's only Mind Blast and Shadow Word Death. And the Trinket Talisman of the Horde, again, we need a lot of resilience, so this is 34 resilience. And it also heals, so it's like an alternative of the one that comes in Season 3, the BM Trinket that you activate and gain 1000 and something HP, which is where everyone starts having more survivability and much better time. Everyone who played TBC from private servers and stuff says Season 3 is the best season, the most balanced one. You have your resilience, soft cap, you have a lot of HP, you have a ton of damage. Arenas are not too slow, not too fast either. With this gear, the resilience is 408. And I mentioned soft cap. I believe soft cap is around 480, 490. After that, there is no point to keep stacking more resilience, because you don't benefit as much from it. Even with full resilience stacking, we still can't get to the soft cap, right? That's why a lot of people will play Discipline Priest instead of Shadow. Discipline can survive longer, and it's a little bit more straightforward, a little bit easier. You could die in a stun, but any class can die in a stun in Season 1, to be honest, so it's not much different. I think Shadow Priest will be fun anyway. And the reason why I chose this mace is because it gives more spell damage and more stamina and intellect from lower City Exalted. And when we go for Oakendown dungeons to farm spirit shards for this anyway, Oakendown dungeons are the ones that give lower City Exalted as well. So I would imagine my first Exalted reputation will be the lower city one. For example, the PvP dagger we have here from Honor is the High Warlord Spellblade. It gives a bit of hit but not big of a deal, and it gives 13 resilience. 13 resilience is not game changing. It gives 121 spell damage, and the mace here gives 159. This gives 18 stamina, the mace gives 24. For Trinket, I guess more offensive, more aggressive one would be the one from Badges. Badge of Justice that you get from heroic dungeons and raids. It gives spell damage, and on active it gives even more spell damage. But the thing is that I believe that like this we have good enough damage already, and we just need to survive more. And let's go to the enchants. The Helm enchant is 22 spell power and 14 spell hit. This one you get it with Shatar reputation. The shoulder enchant is spell crit and spell damage. This is the one if you choose to go Scryers. This one. And if you go Aldor, you have this one, which is better for Shadow Priest. The difference, as you can see, is not big. It's 12 spell damage versus 18 spell damage. We benefit way more from spell damage than from crit, right? We're not mages. So the Aldor one would be specifically for Shadow Priest better, but I think most people will go Scryers. So the Scryers one is good too. I'm still debating, I'm not sure. I might go Aldor just for the enchant for the shoulder. Cloak enchant spell penetration. That's the best enchant. Sadly, this will be the only spell penetration we have. I think a good amount of spell penetration for Shadow Priest is somewhere around 40, like generally speaking, but Paladins have a Shadow Resistance aura, so against them a little bit more than 40. And against SL Warlocks, if we wanna land all the fears, I guess we get all the spell penetration we can. This is basically how it looks like. This is all Season 1. Our ring is called Dominance. Season 2, we get the Veterans of Pieces. And this one has 10 spell penetration. So in Season 2 we'll have 30 spell pen. In Season 3 we get Vindicators of Pieces. And here you have 14 as well. So that's where we get 44. Because we can wear the Season 2 Dominance ring and the Season 3 one. And apart from that, in Season 3, which is the Vengeful Gladiator, we have an offhand with 35 spell penetration. It doesn't give intellect, it just gives spell penetration instead. And then Season 4 Brutal Gladiator is the same as 3 but more stats. Here the Season 4 is 40 spell penetration offhand. And the same with the ones pretty much. Season 3 Vengeful, we have one with spell penetration here, 20. So let's just imagine for a second we're playing Season 3, all the spell penetration I can get, and I get 99. And this is just gonna feel really good to have. You just equip the more spell pen items when you need it, and no more resisting, no more bullshit. The chest enchant is 15 resilience. I think in TBC you can put 6 of all stats, but 15 resilience is just better because we need resilience. Bracer enchant, 12 stamina here. Another good one is the spell damage. How much spell damage was it? 15 spell damage. But with the lack of stamina and tankiness early on, I think I'm gonna go for the stamina for like the beginning and Season 1. And later on switch to spell damage. Like for example, I have a character on this Endless Arena Tournament private server, just to check out the stats and the gear and stuff, and the template came with 15 spell damage enchant. And this is the BM trinket I was talking about. This is Beast trinket for season 3. 1700 maximum health increased for 15 seconds. So the talisman of the horde is like a discount version of that. Gloves enchant, 20 spell damage, no doubt about that. The weapon enchant is Soul Frost, which is 54 shadow spell damage. Another one I used on the TBC beta at first and you're probably thinking of is the 40 spell damage, because that one gives 40 spell damage and 40 healing. But what's better to do instead of that is to have a second weapon for healing enchanted with bonus healing. Like for example here, this one, the Gable of Pure Light, which is Shatar Reputation Exalted, 299 healing and 81 healing from the enchant, and my bonus healing here jumps up to 901. While with the DPS gear it's 645. And you can just have a macro to swap weapon, I can show it in the macros video. The Lord Aaron medical guide is just an example, it's from Old Hillsbrad dungeon. It can be other healing offhands as well. And the healing wand. Because in arena you can change weapons once the arena has started. And you can change it in combat too. The only detail is that it takes a global cooldown to change it in combat. But that one global cooldown doesn't matter when we're silenced anyway. So I'm still also trying to work on that, improve and get better at that. So double DPS, Mage Rogue, the most common. I get counterspelled, so during those 3 seconds I can either wand or use them to swap weapon. I don't care if I get the global cooldown during silence, I can't cast anyway. Mostly what people did on private servers was swap to a healing weapon, so you get a stronger shield and Prayer of Mending before the gate opens, before the arena starts. But in the TBC beta, and I assume it's gonna carry on release, they changed it to the way it was changed after TBC back in the day. Meaning if you pre-Prayer of Mending, pre-shield, or if you're a druid pre-hot with everything, and the gate opens, you lose those pre-hots and pre-shields. So now a simple example could just be equip a healing weapon, the arena starts, go to the first pillar where you have a little stop to shield, that shield with the healing weapon, and then start combat with the normal DPS weapon. The art of min-maxing. And sometimes when I saw it was Rogue Mage in 2s, I started with the healing weapon and played with it the entire time. You could think it's over exaggerating because you lose a lot of spell damage, but it helped me survive a few times. It is probably over exaggerating though to do it every time. Just swap when it's needed. Just be good at the game. And I think it's mostly for 2v2 by the way, this healing thing, because in 2v2 you're always playing with a DPS, right? You are the one that can support when it's needed, the priest. But yeah, if you go for 40 spell damage, which is also 40 healing, you can live with it, but even if I don't swap to healing weapon, I think I would go personally Soul Frost still. More passive damage and more healing through that passive damage from Vampiric Embrace. And there is not much time to cast, right, in Season 1, because it's bursty and fast, and everyone just spams global cooldowns. Sometimes even as a priest you're gonna just dot and then start spamming the spell. But anyway, moving on to the Pants Enchant, straightforward, the Runic Spell Thread, 35 spell damage, 20 stamina, this is crafted. Tailoring, tailors craft this one. The enchant itself can be purchased and bought even if you're not a tailor. And the final enchant on boots, minor speed and 9 stamina, it is called the Boar Speed. Minor speed is extremely important, but it does not stack with meta gem minor speed, and we're gonna go through the gems now and I'll show you my meta gem and the other gems. Actually, the last enchants are the ring enchants. I don't see the option here on the WoW headgear planner to put them like the other items. But for rings we have 12 spell damage enchant. For both ring it's 24, it's huge benefit. It's spell damage and healing. And remember that now they made it so you need the profession to benefit from the enchant. If you enchant and then unlearn the profession, you lose the benefit of the ring enchants. You need to hold enchanting. Just speaking of swapping weapons, another swapping for efficiency would be to swap to a more spirit weapon for more regen while drinking. Just an example. Serpent Crest Life Staff. This is from Steam Votes. It can be any spirit stuff you get from raid or something. This is 46 spirit and you can put the 20 spirit enchant. It's a classic enchant. I don't think there is a TBC spirit enchant. Season 1 and 2 TBC arena probably too fast to be able to switch and reset the fight and drink. But season 3 it becomes more possible. At the start, mostly in BGs, in the open world after you're done in a fight, if you're resetting a duel. And last but not least, the gems of the gear. The best meta gem is 18 stamina and 5 stun resist. And 5% stun resist from here, plus 15 from the Discipline Unbreakable Will talent. It's 20% additional chance to resist a stun, and sometimes people will be mad because you will resist a lot. Sometimes you will be mad because you will know to resist when you need it. But yeah, this meta gem is the best. The helm also has a red socket, and there is this gem that gives 5 spell damage and 6 stamina. And it matches a red or blue socket. Remember that for this meta gem to work, where is it? It doesn't show it on Wowhead. You can see it requires at least 3 blue gems. Another gem here that's red only for this red socket is the spell damage one. This one, 9 spell damage. And this is PTR vendors, by the way, here at the entrance of the Hall of Legends in Orgrimmar. On release, they will not be here, of course. 9 spell damage gem, but that's just purely spell damage. With the early lack of tankiness, I would go for this one, spell damage and stamina. On the neck, I will go 12 stamina, just because I won't have anywhere like 12 stamina gem. This is stamina heavy, I need stamina. But another option, for example, here is this gem that gives 4 resilience and 6 stamina, and it matches a yellow or blue socket. But for example, for this neck, the socket bonus is 2 spell crit rating, and I don't need that as Shadow Priest. The other items that I go for those gems is to match the colors, because they give socket bonuses that I want. 4 resilience here, chest is 4 resilience socket bonus, bracer is 2 spell damage. Shoulder gems are gonna be the spell damage and stamina and 8 resilience. My chest gems will be spell damage and stamina and 2 of 8 resilience. And on the bracer it will be 8 resilience. So I think here I covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover. And now this is gonna be satisfying. Let's take a look at full season 1 geared. First thing to notice, the resilience is 493, so this is the point where stop, no need more than this. This is like the soft cap I was talking about. So here, for example, when we replace the honor gear with season 1 gear, what we could do is use full DPS gear instead of getting 35 resilience from the 2 piece of the healer gear. And now I have the full DPS set, 458 resilience, which is pretty decent. The difference also is so good. You have 10k HP unbuffed now. With just the honor gear, it's 600 HP less. Here we also have 400 mana more, so it's nice. Still, the mana problems will be there though. I'll talk about mana specs that are more mana efficient and stuff in the next video when I cover the talents that I want to go for personally. So the off pieces are the same pretty much. I'm here at the vendor in Nagrant on the TBC beta, and you can see you would just have the 2 sets, the DPS and the healer, all the weapons, and the wand that you cannot get with honor. No off pieces, so if this blue ring starts looking bad in all of a sudden, maybe one option is to replace it with some PvE one. Lose this 15 resilience, because the mana problems are real sometimes. And maybe get back the shoulders and gloves healer set for the 35 resilience. Let's just get any ring, really, I don't care that much exactly what it is. Minus that 15 resilience from the blue ring comes at 478 resilience, which is actually pretty good. Or maybe another option, if I want to keep that band of dominance, the blue ring, I could switch to these other gems instead. So instead of full resilience from gems, I'm getting 4 resilience and 6 stamina. That way I have more stamina unbuffed. And my resilience is 477, not at the soft cap, but really close to it. The most important thing when I do a guide video or a video like this is I want to explain why different stuff, what to consider, and all the thought process behind everything. Because when you are new, you should never like copy paste something from somewhere and just do this because you saw it there. Try your best to understand why, what are your different options, and maybe you will like something different than what the guide tells you, that different enchant. Maybe you will even have a better time with what you did compared to what the guide said exactly, you know? But more or less this is how my gears are gonna look like. Pre-season 1 blue set, season 1 epic season 1 set. You know, in TBC the season 1 gear looks like the tier 4 set. Shoulders, there it is. Let me put a mace. Season 3, the Vengeful looks like the tier 6 gear. One of the best looking set in my opinion for priest ever in all of WoW expansions. So yeah, now I covered everything I wanted to cover in this video. I hope it was nice and helpful. I will do a couple more videos like this, I think, just so I have it in a video for everyone who asks. I will also make one for talents, and I think I will make another one with my add-ons and UI guide videos before TBC is out. And now we are only a couple days before TBC is out, so I'm gonna have to put in some work. Now we are in my outro screen where it's blurry, and Right here I put links to other videos. Here I will put when I upload them to the add-ons video. Right now I'm looking at the recording. The recording of this is 1 hour and 36 minutes. I have no idea, this could be a long one.